Good morning, Rabbi Yisai. LeAliyat Nishmat Chaim Elefant. Before we begin, we have a lot of chashva news here. First of all, we have a very chashva guest from Moshe Schwed from All Daf, the one and only All Daf. So Yishkoyach for coming, Yishkoyach for being Marbitz Torah, getting the Daf out there to the Rabbim. You have anything to tell us about All Daf? You want to tell us something?
About MDY. First of all, the place.
I know about MDY. I need to know about All Daf. No, let's. Oh, from a different perspective. Okay, tell us from a different perspective. No.
Perspective from across the world, this place is like triple the size. But I see this is like you would fit in.
It's like the Beis Hamikdash.
This makes really what it looks like.
I'm in Tzufim, Mushtachim Ravacha. All right, Yishkoyach, thank you very much for everything you do.
I think it was in the jungle. I think that's my
I was in a safari. You called me up. You said, "Hey, you do the 8-minute daf." It was before the whole shir. It's just 8-minute daf. Yeah, very nice. All right, so we came a long way since then. Rabbi Yisai, I want to also announce the winner. Yesterday we had. You're not going to believe this. Yesterday we had 333 people that took upon themselves to finish Perek Arvei Pesachim before Pesach. Today, we have 536 people. Over 200 people joined since yesterday. So from those 200 people, we said we're going to do a raffle, $200 raffle. And Avi Kamiansky generated a random pick, and he sent me the name. Somebody I actually know. I think everybody knows him. Tani Pollack. Huh? Joe? No, from the 200 people. The 300 before get a different raffle. That's the obvious thing. My 200, that was my personal. I'm giving it to Tani Pollack. Somehow, told me you're going to get it to him somehow. Be in touch with him. I have his email here and everything. So Yishkoyach. Check this out. A bunch of people came forward, including Ya'akov from B3 Bicycles in Lakewood. B3 Bikes is happy to sponsor one bicycle, $500 value to the Chazara program. You guys take care of raffling it off to anyone who completes the Pesach initiative. Best regards, Ya'akov. This is interessant. Good morning, Rabbi Yisai. Oh, and a few people, they donated money anonymously, so Yishkoyach to all those who donated and are pushing Chazara. It's going to go and go. Close to 600 people. It's unbelievable. It's very touching. Chazara, Perek, Arvei Pesachim, in time for Leil HaSeder, just an additional limud. It's unbelievable. Almost 600 people.
Good morning, Rabbi Westside.
All right, at least somebody enjoyed it. I did. He's God's proud of himself too. I'm excited to be joining the Chabur of Arvei Pesachim, but those graphics and signs, come on. They were filmed years ago. We've been spoiled with Yoshi's graphics, on-screen sponsorships and edits and CGI that would make Spielberg jealous. If it's not too much to ask, no, it's not b'chlal, please redo the Perek for the sake of the Olam. Perry Dubinsky. Listen, I was thinking about it. Even what we have today, in 2 years from now, we're going to laugh at. Be'ez Hashem, we're going to have 3D animation, and then from there we're going to go on to everybody's going to be wearing these VR goggles this year, and they're going to see the Beis Hamikdash, they're going to touch Korbanos. That's how it is. So in 2 years from now, you're going to be laughing. We're not going to redo everything. One perek at a time. L'chvoid, Reb Eli, Avram Zaken Baba Yamim, he came with his days full, fulfilling every minute of the day. Now that I joined Arvei Pesachim, I just learned, listen to this, I just learned that I have an extra 30 minutes in my day. No words could thank you for making my day and life so much more meaningful. Not only am I thanking you, my wife, children, my Talmidim appreciate me becoming a better person. Ari, checking now. Remember the guy with the white shtreimel? Ari, checking now. He's a Rebbe in Torah V'das. What?
Your graphic? Yeah.
What about it?
You had the magnet?
Yeah.
Think back?
Oh, you're talking about the hands-on. This email is a long time coming, at least 3 months, which means I had time to add. My wife came home from Yeshiva Tana of Passaic, PTA, in late December with a report that our son David, 9 years old, did for 3rd grade writing assignment. The subject he wrote was on the SEMA Bellworks. Shkar, by the way, for coming to Miami. It was very nice of you. Bellworks, we had 2,000 people. Miami, he's the guy that did Miami. Michael Benjitrit. So the kid wrote about Bellworks. That was his thing. David enjoys listening to Shiurim, has been doing the daf with me whenever he can, usually on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Listen to this. He's 9 years old. We figure he's probably heard at least 500 Daf Gemara. Dava came to Belarus with me for the Siyum. What's the Shabbos? He came for the 10-year-old Lakewood Shir Shabbos. He came with our 10-year-old to the Lakewood Shir. We got to give Shalom Aleichem to the Rebbe after Shir. We got back to Pesach after 2:30 a.m. You hear this? After 2:30 a.m. But the way they still talk about it, it was worth every second. I'm poor Mazur to receive from Yoni Merzel a copy of Nedarim art sefer published for the Siyum in New Jersey. David took it to his Rebbe and tried to convince him to join MDY. When we say MDY is family, I think many miss the influence it has on our kids. Koltov, Zorach Spira, Passaic, New Jersey. Rabbi Say, if you don't remember, huh? Ah, really? You know him? Zorach Spira. He's Mashgiach Kashas, do you? Okay, so I'm not making this up, even if I wanted to. Exactly a year ago, we had a very, very, you know what we had a year ago, Tomer? Here, check this out. This is the Siyum here in Ramat Bet Shemesh with over 800 people in attendance. In this picture alone, there's about 650 people. It was an amazing, amazing Siyum. I just spoke to Dov Harris yesterday from London, and he's like, he based his whole Siyum of London based on this. He took a lot of cues. It was the way we did the Siyum here that other people said, okay, Michael Ben did also, who's paying attention now. Good afternoon, I don't have social media. Oh, this is perfect for you. I don't have social media and I find them unable to access most of your sites. If it ain't on all daf, Zoom or email, I don't get to access it. You see that? If it's not on all daf. I didn't make that up. What do you think? I went to the mikveh? I don't get access. I started Arvei Pesachim last night. It's a great chazara, and since I started this year in Pesachim, it is very nostalgic. I didn't tell the guy to write it, so it was a different time. Okay, Rabbi Side. The Koilel is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood. The second sponsor of the Koilel is supporting Torah strength and Arvei Pesachim. The Masechta is sponsored by Maaser. The second sponsor of the Masechta, LeAliyat Nishmat Chaim Elefant, Yosef. The sponsor of the month. We have 5 of them. LeAliyat Nishmat Zechraya ben Moshe. LeAliyat Nishmat Moshe ben Yehuda, by Anon Ymous from Flatbush, we continue Bracha, Mazel, and Clarity, by the Landy Family, LeAliyat Nishmat Yisroel, Chayim ben Yishaya, and LeAliyat Nishmat Chaim Elefant, the young guy, Chayim ben Ya'akov, Shmuel. Really? Your first cousin, how old was he? 30? 33. His kids he has 4 kids below the age of 7, right? By Chanie Davidsohn, in honor of Yisroel Tzvi ben Feiga Chaya's birthday. It's Yisroel Tzvi's birthday today. A dedicated Chabad MDY learner. Not related to you. And by L'schus, Refuah Shlema, Yisroel Tzvi ben Shoshana Rivka Rachel, who's having brain surgery today. Wow. Refuah Shlema. So I just want to say real quickly, we got to kick this off. One of the most geschmackste Masechtas, and I don't say this on every Masechta, is coming up. Soita is probably one of the easiest. It's for sure the most agadita in all of Shas. Sugyas and the agadita just explains to us like Chumash Bereshis about Moshe Rabbeinu and Miriam, all the stuff that we learned when we were kids. It's all in Soita. There's maybe 9 daf about the actual concept of Soita. The rest is all. So Rabbi Say, it's easier than Tainus and Megillah. Bring your friends, get them to come, join, be part of this amazing community that we have. 48, I think, yeah, it says Memtes, 49 daf. Rabbi Say, so yesterday, let's try this out again if this works. Great. Oh, kacha. Yesterday we were discussing the 2 psukim and limudim that we have by Nazir and by Kohen Gadol. By Kohen Gadol it says, V'al kol nafshis meis lo yavai, la'aviv u'li'imay lo yitama. So, 2 extra words, seemingly. It says that kol nafshis meis, a Kohen Gadol should not become tamei to anyone, including his father and mother. So his father and mother are extra. And we went into different limudim according to Rabbi Shmuel and according to Rabbi Kiva. We'll see that in a second. By Nazir, it says more. It says 4 words. Le'aviv u'li'imay, and it also says le'achiv u'la'achoisay le'itamalem e'moisam yinayzel le'kava rosham. Yesterday we saw this. I just want to show you the difference between what I did and what Yoshi did. I personally like mine more. Some could like Yoshi, and we're not gonna. We'll basically go with Yoshi maybe. I added this word nefesh meis to teach us rechoikim. We didn't have this word yesterday. La'aviv teaches us kroivim. That this is talking about what? A Nazir. So a Nazir should not be metamet to people that are distant to him and then people that are close to him. Li'imai teaches us that he could go ahead and deliberately touch a mitzvah or a zav. La'achiv teaches us that he could be metamet to a meis mitzvah. And finally, la'chaisai teaches us that anybody, not a Nazir, any person on the way to his own son's bris milah or Carbon Pesach, which they're both karas, if you happen upon a meis mitzvah, you bury the meis mitzvah. So here goes Yoshi. This is basically the same thing. That's talking about a kohen gadol. To press this harder. Okay. No, not working. Oh. So basically what he did here is he took both shitas. He took Rabbi Shmuel on the right and Rabbi Kiva on the left. I try to stay away from these things. I didn't speak to him about it. I got late, but it's just a lot of words. But if you look at it, it's very, very nice. One thing I'm not sure about where he got is the Revi'is Dam from one mace where it says Nafshos. I don't know. We might have to take that out. Al Koponim, it says like this. Al Kol Nafshos Mace. According to Rabbi Shmuel, we learn from those words that you're not metamet to the kroivim. And according to Rabbi Kiva, nafshois, alcohol is to rechoikim, mace is to kroivim. Nafshois, we saw this halacha earlier in the Masechta, we're going to see it today, we didn't see it yet, that if you combine two vessels, two half a reviuses, in other words, 2/4 of a lug, of two different dead people, and you combine them together, it's metame ba'ayil. We'll get into that. La'aviv, according to Rabbi Shmuel, we learn meis mitzvah. And according to Rabbi Kiva, we'll see it's really li'imai, we learn the gzeir shava, but you need both. La'aviv li'imai, according to Rabbi Kiva, you use both words. It's a combination of le'aviv li'imai to learn the gzeir shava, that what? You're allowed to touch a zav. A mitzayra. Zav. Oh. And here's the pasuk by Nazir, that we have before. You see over here, nefesh meis. So, what do you learn from Nazir, nefesh, that you're not metame rechoikim, and according to Rebbe Kiva, rechoikim and kroivim la'aviv. You know what? Let's just see it inside. Okay, Rebbe Kiva. Let's start over from Rebbe Kiva. Rebbe Kiva Omer. Nafshois. We have to take out the word vav taf over here. It's nefesh. It's like 12 lines. Mem Amud Beis, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 17 lines from the bottom of Amud Beis. Rabbi Kiva Omer, nefesh, elo rechoikim. Right? Because we're talking in the pasuk of Nazir. And in the pasuk of Nazir, here we'll go back for a second because Yoshi brought it in there. This button is not being responsive. So you see at the bottom pasuk. Al nefesh meis liyava. It doesn't say nafshois. It says nefesh. So the Bach takes out the vav taf. Meis elu akroivim. Sorry. Nefesh elu rechoikim. Meis elu akroivim. We know from here that a Nazir cannot go ahead and bury people he's not related to. Once we know that, the next word meis teaches us he can't even bury his own 7 relatives, his brother, sister, all these people, father, mother. Love l'imai. So what do you do with the extra love l'imai? Love l'imai nimtama. Ava metama with a meis mitzvah. Let's maybe go back to this one. Does this work? Oh, okay. Went too far. I don't like this. Oh, I hope it stays. Great. So listen to this one. We had it yesterday as well. What do we learn from the word la'achiv? It already says you can't be metamet to all your relatives. The 2 times that the Torah calls a person a kadosh, a holy person. Who's a kadosh? a Kohen and the Nazir. So what if you combine the two together? The Kohen Gadol is a Nazir, so he's a double Kaddish. So I would think that he shouldn't be Mitama. And you asked me yesterday, the Miri's Kasha, found it in Bracha somewhere. How's it possible that a Kohen Gadol becomes a Nazir? Kohen Gadol has to shave, he has to haircut all the time. So one of the tirusim he gives is that you could get away with not taking a haircut every 30 days. So it's on the 30. The Mechas Chinuch says, no, in Chanami. There's an Isser, Doiraisa, Tar lo yaver al roishoi. There's an Isser loisase to shave. And it's a Shev al Taisa. It's better for him not to get a haircut than to shave. Okay. So if he's a Kohen Gadol who's not only a Kohen Gadol, he's also a Nazir, he's double Kedusha. If he finds a Meis Mitzvah, he should be Mitam the Meis Mitzvah. What do we do with the word Achoisoi? He's doing something that has karas, very, very severe, Milah and Pesach. And he finds a Meis Mitzvah, he should do the Meis Mitzvah. The Rebbe Minale. So Rebbe Akiva, how does he learn this Gzeir Shava? He needs the words of a v'imai. He's already taken. He doesn't have an extra imai for Gzeir Shava because Rebbe Akiva, as we're going to explain on Daf Mem Tes, he uses both together. Of and imai. You can't use one without the other. So you pretend that of and imai are one word. So now he's stuck. He doesn't have that extra word to teach us the Gzeir Shava that Rabbi Shmuel learns. Yeah? Nachama. Rabbi Shmuel learns from the word imai. Look at the bottom of this chart that a Nazir could go and deliberately touch a Mitzayra, which is a very severe tumah. He's chashiv kemeis, says Taisvas. Chidush. How does Rabbi Akiva know this halacha? Yeah, but I'm saying Rabbi Shmuel learns Rebbe's Gzeir Shava. Omar loch, kivin damar marim, hoye kohen gadol v'nazir la'achiv. Enim etamo. If he's the Kaddish of the Kaddish, he's a kohen gadol plus he's a Nazir. We learn from the word le'achiv already, right? The word la'achiv teaches us that by a Nazir, that he shouldn't be mitamav. Mitamav l'meis mitzvah. I already know that the holiest Jew in the world, he's not only the kohen gadol who's the galad dar, but he's a kohen gadol who happens to be also a Nazir. He should touch a meis mitzvah. Ma'in kohen gadol chudei, mali Nazir a kohen gadol. So certainly, if he's just a kohen gadol by himself, he should be mitama to meis mitzvah. So Taisus explains before that according to Rabbi Akiva, without getting into it, we know that Gzeir Shava sometimes, according to some other, sometimes you need it to be mufnim mishnei tzdadim. Over here, it's only mufnim mitzad echad because the word imai by Nazir is necessary, right, to teach us the yimatam meis mitzvah. So it's only imai by a kohen gadol that's extra. So you don't really have a very strong Gzeir Shava. You only have one extra word, but that's okay. L'mei demei meshivim according to Rabbi Akiva, fine. Says the Gemara, Uli Bishmal, Kohen Gadol v'Nazir min alei. Now, how does Rabbi Shmuel know this halacha of a double gedusha? Even the Sharach Monachad Lav, Gabi Meis Mitzvah. So says the Gemara Svara, what's the difference if a guy's over one Avera, two Averas? If the Torah says you find the Meis Mitzvah, you over one Avera, so you find the Mitzvah, and you have to be over two Averas. You over two Averas. Kim Sharach Monachad Lav, Gabi Meis Mitzvah, Mali Chad Lav, Mali Trei Lavim. Great. It's a very geshmakis for. If your wife has to go to the hospital, you start counting how many averes you're doing. You go through this light, you push on the brakes, you turn on the car.
It's a huge chiddush.
To me,
the fact that every avera is a huge.
For certain people, it's a chiddush. For certain people, it's not. For me, it's not. Says the Gemara.
You don't understand.
I don't understand what you don't understand. Doesn't mean I don't understand. So say the Gemara. So if so, what does a chaysi come to teach us? Chaysi comes to teach us that if a person is going to bring a Korban Pesach, he's about to be over on a Karas, and he finds a Meis Mitzvah, he should do the Meis Mitzvah. We just said, it doesn't matter how many Averis he's over, let him be over. So what's the nafka mina if he's over 2 Averis, 3 Averis, or he has an Aver of Karas? We just said, no matter what, take care of the Meis Mitzvah. Says the Gemara, no. So maybe the Torah only said break a lav and nothing more. But maybe when it comes to Isser Kares, which is much more severe, he shouldn't. That's why I need Achoisa. Daf Yomi Amud Aleph. Uli Rabbi Akiva Michti loishne koyin gadol l'chudei v'loishne koyin gadol v'u Nazir nafki milachiv. So right? So we have the word achiv, as we said, comes to say a guy has a person, not a guy, a person, a gadol, has 2 kedushas. He's a koyin gadol and a Nazir, and he finds a dead person on the way. As we said even yesterday, according to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, you don't have to make any phone calls, you don't have to do it. It's the Ramah actually, not the Shlomo Zalman. The Ramah says, you're not mechuyev to pay any money. You have a heter, even though you're such a kaddish, and you're not going to be able to do avoid in the Beis Hamikdash. You're going to have to shave it. You could be mitabel a meis mitzvah. If so, so by koyin gadol, ask the Gemara, why do I need by koyin gadol aviv v'limay? If we're already learning from Achiv that if a koyin gadol is both a Nazir and a koyin gadol, that we already learned by Nazir. Yeah? Where's the word Achiv? It's very simple. By koyin gadol it only says 2 words, imay and aviv imay. So the word Achiv obviously is by a Nazir. And by a Nazir we said, we take that word, Achiv, and we're telling us the holiest Jew in the world. Who's the holiest Jew in the world? A koyin gadol. Who's a Nazir? So then the pasuk by koyin gadol is not necessary. I'm already learning from the pasuk of Nazir that a koyin gadol who's a Nazir, he's not only a koyin gadol, he's more than a koyin gadol. He's a koyin gadol plus a Nazir. He should be mitamat hameis. So why in the world I need the word la'aviv imay by a Nazir to teach me the same halacha? By koyin gadol. I'm sorry, by koyin gadol. I have by Achiv by a Nazir to teach me this halacha of a koyin gadol. Not just the koyin gadol, a huge koyin gadol with the Naziros. So then the pasuk by koyin gadol is extra. Says the Gemara, that's according to the Rosh. It says maybe talking about something else. Fine. Tzrichi. The kosav aviv havamina hainu taimid le'mitamale. So now the Gemara uses sfars that we had yesterday. But basically what the Gemara is saying is, and that explains Rebbe Kiva why we have to use the 2 words together. Aviv and imay. It doesn't go by itself. You can't just say the word aviv. If you say the word just aviv, we'll have a problem. If you say the word imay, we'll have a big problem. Why? Because if you just say aviv, you're going to think, he should not be mitamat his father, but yes to his mother. Or you mitamat his mother, not his father. Kids, so you're going to make enough community between a father and a mother. Why? How do we know that it's your father? Chazaka. Okay, that's the shvacha thing. The yadin, the lite, everybody knows 99.9% she is the mother. L'tamala. Maybe you should be mitama to her. Yesterday, I said over that Briskerov goes this way, sorry. And Menachem Ateh sent me the Briskerov inside. So I was a little worried that there's certain people out there that like to take these exact things and make a whole big deal out of it. Where am I? Okay, let me go straight. What?
9. Usually 9.
Yeah, but it's in the stencils. Here it is. It's mamash here. So Chayim says this. No, sorry. Vatirutz. And he goes on to say, Ze yagid kloino b'chisusa v'lo ze kovid v'lehader elehevech v'yevshe sheh b'dav mitzvah. If you call the mother a zayna, in other words, it's not her husband. This is the biggest pieces you can do to the mother. You say, give her a cup of water first. Why? Because she's a vadai and her husband is a suffix. In other words, she was mizana maybe. It's the opposite of giving her a cup of water first. So it's a steer minei ubei. Okay? This is one of the rayas, by the way, in general. Why a person shouldn't live in fear. Maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that, maybe this happened to me, maybe all these theories. The Israelis, they bombed the towers, 9/11. You can't live with funny sfeikas, because if you live with funny sfeikas, you don't know who your father is. You have to live like an Amal Mensch. They once asked the brisker, how come he's not choishish that maybe he's an Amaleki? We don't know his father's. Maybe he's an Amalek, and therefore he has to commit suicide. So he said, because if he's an Amaleki, then he's not a brisker, and he doesn't have to be machmer. Because Rachmani Imoi, have Amina Imoi Loyla Tamala. So the Torah has to say both, Aviv and Imoi. Because if it would just say Aviv, we think a mother, you should be Metamatu, because a mother is a Vada and the father is more of a Safek. And if it would just say Imoi, have Amina Imoi Loyla Tamala, the Lav Ozazar Basra. You shouldn't. The Torah doesn't counter when it comes to Nachla, to Yerusha, but I mean to a Kayin is a Kayin because his father, Levi is a Levi. Where do you live in Eretz Yisrael? All based on the father. Avalav Kivin Doma Mar Limshpachai Sam Leveis Avoisam goes by Leveis Avoisam by the father. Maybe he has a stronger connection, as we showed yesterday. A brother from a father has more of a connection than a brother from a mother. Komash Malon. I just want to say this Maisa. I know there might be one or two people in the room that know this Maisa well. One of them is Reb Nachman. I want to say this Maisa anyways. It's a beautiful story in the Torah that not everybody's very familiar with. The story of Shleimus Bas Divri. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu, he saw the Mitzri. He looked both directions. He saw nobody's looking. He killed him and buried him. Who's this Mitzri? So Rashi on the spot says that this Mitzri, Nosan Einov, he wanted Shleimus Bas Divri. So he got the husband out of the house and he snuck in and the wife didn't know and she got pregnant. The husband figured it out. So he confronted the Mitzri. So says Rashi, he beat up the Yid all day long and he forced labor. And when Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Achzarius, he killed him. Who's the son of Shleimus Bas Divri? Who's this kid? This kid is the famous Mikalo. Because what happened was, he comes to the Midbar, and he takes his tent, and he puts it down by Dan. So they told him, get out of here. It says in the Pasuk, L'beis Avaisam. This Pasuk, L'beis Avaisam. You don't belong here. Go to your father's city. Go back to Egypt. Your father's a Mitzri. You don't belong here. So because he felt lost, he started cursing. So this is the idea of feeling that you belong, feeling connected to the mishpacha. So bring more people, Rabbi, to the Saita. Feel connected. Teach them about the connection. We're mamish mishpacha. You know that, I was thinking about it. Not only that we did 600 people, close to 600 people doing Arvei Pesachim, but remember, don't forget, not too long ago, the Olam took upon themselves 5,000 daf for a Zionist Yid that lives in Moreshet that was sick. And Baruch Hashem, just today I heard there's promising news that he's communicating. Thumbs up. They took out the breathing tube, so Beis Hashem can continue. But Azam Mishpacha, 5,000 daf from Chasidim and Misnagdim and Tziyonim and anti-Tziyonim, the whole 5,000. You know how much 5,000 daf is? Unbelievable. All right. Zog the Gemara.
If you do 21 times 600, that's 12,000 plus. That's shot 6 times.
If you do 42,
Yeah.
where'd you come with 21?
For 21 blood.
21 blood. I hear what you're saying. Sorry.
It's doing shot 6 times.
Givaldic.
This kid's 47 Carlos.
I want to tell you something. If you're not going to do Arvei Pesachim, so I basically finish Arvei Pesachim. Me and Shamshi going ahead. We want to finish the entire Pesachim before it's mamish gishma. It's addictive. You just binge. You do 7 daf, 22 minutes a daf, 21 minutes, boom, boom, boom. But one thing, if you don't do Arvei Pesachim, tell you one halacha interesting, that when you do a seva, I remember pounding this during our, you do a seva, you have to make sure, because it's mamish ma'akev, it's a seva, you have to make sure that your head is resting on something. Because a lot of people, they lean over like this, but their head is on nothing, it's just on ear. And if your head is not leaning on something, you're basically not yaitza. Just one of these halachas that you get to do on when you learn Arvei Pesachim, you get to see a lot of the details. Yeah, it's brought down in Mishnah Berurah, Maaser.
It's like no one does it. It's ganz klar as well. No one's yet.
All the people that did Arvei Pesachim with us, no, do it.
No one's yet. Not one Jew ever.
Do you remember how I was pounding also?
Except for you.
What's mar? Men, do you remember what mar is? What's mar? Chassidim do horseradish. There's the whole thing. Mar is lettuce. Where did they come up with it? We finally came up with the pshat why do people do with horseradish givaldi. Okay. Ayin Sham. Says the Gemara. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been, for years, I had major chairs, couches, things in my head.
What's your father?
Who knows? He does by Allah. He knows Allah. The bottom line is, do Arvei Pesachim and you'll have a better seder. Oh, so I want to show you this thing real quickly. What just came out of here? Check out this chart. It comes out very, very pashut, very simple chart. There's two psukim, one by Kohen Gadol, one by Nazir. The word li'imai is what we learn out from Kohen Gadol to teach us that he's metama even to Mitzayra. Kohen Gadol can walk over to Mitzayra and touch him. So then why does it say la'aviv? So we don't think it's only imai. The aviv comes to help out imai, but you don't learn anything from aviv. And when you look at Nazir, we do learn something from the word aviv, and we don't learn anything from the word imai. We learn from aviv the idea of meis mitzvah, and from imai, nothing, just so we don't think that it's only aviv and not imai. It's very interesting, yeah? Imai we learn Kohen Gadol, aviv we learn by Nazir, and the extra word aviv or imai is just to support it. Says the Gemara of Al-Kol Nafshis Meis Le'yavai Lama Li, according to Rebbe Kiva by Kohen Gadol, it says Al-Kol Nafshis Meis, what does he do with it? Says the Gemara Al-Kol La'afuge Rechoykim. That we had before, I showed you in the chart. Al-Kol, we start from far away, from the distant people. You shouldn't be metam. By Kohen Gadol. Meis La'afuge Kroivim, Kohen Gadol is not metam, his 7 relatives. Nafshois La'afuge Reviz Dam, Shiyotzo, Mishnei Meisim. Here you go. Check this out. Look at this. Oh, you guys missed it? Here. One more time. His 2 dead people, his 2 happy reviuses, they combine under an oil to make tumas oil. How much blood, Rabbi Yosef, do you need for tumas oil? A revius. Remember that, because in a second we're going to say something different. Or revius dam for oil. If you take 2/4 of a revius from 2 different dead people and put them together, now you have a revius. You have 25%. If you do 2/8 make 1 revius. Yeah. Says the Gemara, revius dam shes mishnei meisim shem tam boil. Shenema al kol nafshis meis lo yav. Says the official Mishnah, the Heilige Mishnah. Oh, we just turned to Memtes of Ayeli ben Aliza Simcha Shena Masha and Aliza Simcha Shena Masha about Bracha. That's Lachav and the Magachir, the members of the HBA group and their families. Amen. Al Elu Tumois. You making fun of my Punish math?
Yes.
No. I think even in Punish you know that. Al Elu, who's the sponsor? Oh. The official Mishnah is sponsored Favra Menashe Ben Chana Bracha Lefur Shlema. So if a Nazir becomes Tameh, he has to start all over and he has to shave. Which are the Tumahs? So basically the Mishnah is going to say every single Tumah that's known to man. There's 2 exceptions. When you read the Mishnah, if you don't pay attention, there's 2 exceptions that are different than a regular Tumas Meis. Ala Meis, on a Meis. So Rabbi Yehuda is going to say, what do you mean on a mace? Isn't that extra? The Gemara is going to explain, no, it's not extra. Val kezayis min a mace. He says, if a kezayis, so then certainly on a whole mace. The Gemara says, no, sometimes you have a mace without a kezayis. You need a kezayis of the mace. Val kezayis netzel, some sort of gross thing from a dead person. It's not fluid, okay, liquidy, it gels, liquefies, fine. Va'al Gross stuff. Okay, I'm not going to get into it. During COVID, they had these refrigerator trucks in front of the not hospitals, the morgues. And then people started seeing liquids dripping out. It was nervy. Remember those days? We don't want to remember those days. 2 years ago, seems like, was it 2 or 3? 3 already. Val Meloy Tarvod Rokov. Take a ladle full of corpse dust, the ashes, the dust that's left over after the body disintegrates. And that's only mitama be oil. What if you touch it, Rabbi Yisai? Not tame. Why? Because you're not touching something. It's a million particles. So the way you mitama by it is 2 ways. Either by oil. What's the other way, Rabbi Yisai? Maaser. Maaser means if you lift it. If it's in a box, it's in the top of the 3 boxes, doesn't matter what, and you go like this, you lift it, you become tamei. Ala shedra, vala gugoilas. Shedra is this part, the spinal cord, vala gugoilas. It's somewhere rolling around there. Gugoilas. Just that alone. I heard a Murray joke, but whoever I tell it to doesn't get it, so it's too bad. What? Oh, no. Kizais is basar minames. Basar. Now we're talking about bones, never bones. There was a guy that was the coach of the America swim team. So he was testing out the swimmers. Swimmer comes without any hands. He says, no, come on. He says, no, trust me. Watch me swim, and then you're not going to have any charata. So he says, okay. He jumps into the pool. He beats all the records. He says, okay, welcome to the team. Next day, a guy shows up without legs. He says, no, come on. He says, trust me, you don't see my stroke. It's unbelievable. Okay, he jumps into the pool, and he beats all the records. Next day, a head shows up. He says, what's this? He says, trust me, you've never seen anything like that. So he jumps into the pool, and all of a sudden, blub, 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 bubbles start coming out. Lifeguards jump in. They take the guy out, and he's huffing and puffing. He says, wow, unbelievable. If not for that muscle cramp, I would have won the world record. Malagal Goylas. I loved it. It's going to take you a minute or 2, you'll chop it afterwards. Unless you never had a muscle cramp, if you never tried swimming with your ears alone without anything else, you don't have what I'm saying. Via lever min mace. 1 aver. So this is very interesting. Every time we speak about it, we spoke about it a few times, but it's a very interesting halacha, even halacha l'maisa. Imagine this, and it happened a few times, and it happened to a guy here in Mabit Shemesh, the guy I buy fish from in the Merkaz. He's chopping his fish away, and he chopped his finger off. A finger is an aver, says the Mishnah. So imagine this. He goes to the hospital, which he did, and they sew it back on. He's walking around with an aver. It's not attached to his body. So wherever he goes, he's matama ba'oil. So kohanim, if he came to shear that day, and a few days later, I don't know how many days it takes for it to start reattaching. No.
After it's reattached.
Surgically reattached. It's not reattached. Yeah. No, it's a bunch of strings.
No, it goes, it connects.
Yeah, 3 days later.
But
until then, it's a very interesting shaila. He's walking around in a hospital, he's walking around in a shul, and he's being metama ba'oil, because that aver is metama ba'oil. I'm just bringing it out.
Thank you.
This is also very important. They take off limbs, unfortunately, people, amputations. And I just heard a maisa neuro where they took a guy's leg and they try to cremate it, a whole maisa. But it happens. And this is karoi. What does karoi mean? To regenerate. Enough basar that could come back. So this is what I want you to pay attention to. Because when it comes to tumas mace, it's a quarter of a kav. But when it comes to a nazir, special halacha al chatzi kav atzamis. In order to be tamim, you need a half a kav. And Taisus over here says it's not so posh, but Taisus says we're talking about the roiv minyan or roiv binyan. Remember roiv minyan because there's 248 bones, so roiv of that is 125, and we're talking about chopped up bones, not whole bones. So if you have chopped up bones that add up to chatzi kav, then fine. But if you don't have chopped up bones, they're whole bones, then it goes by Rav Minyan or Rav Binyan. But if you have the Rav Binyan again, is the height of the person, most of the height. So if you take these two large bones plus a third one, that's Rav Binyan. But if they're chopped up into pieces, these three bones are chopped into pieces, then you need a chatzi kav. V'al chatzi lo yigdam. Oh, remember I asked Oilam, how much blood creates tumas oil, we said? Or revi'is dam. So over here the Mishnah says, al chatzi lo yigdam. You need double to make a Nazir shave. He becomes tamei, like any other Jew becomes tamei. You don't force him to shave until you have double the amount of blood, a double amount of bones. Magon, v'al magon. So here we're just going through Hilchas Tumen Tahara. You become tamei when you touch a dead person. V'al mason, if you lift a dead person without touching him. There could be 3 mechitzas between you and the dead person, but you lifted him up, you're done. V'al ahilon, what's ahilon? We said yesterday, if the dead person is in a house, that's oil. If you are an oil over that person, there's no house at all. You're out in the open. You looked over his face to see if he's breathing. Boom, oil. And if he looks over your face to see if you're breathing and he's dead, it's also oil. Va'aletzem, I'm not joking. If there's a dead person hung over you and you're underneath him, you become tamei, but tumas oil. Va'aletzem kesayro, and one whole bone that's the size of a barley, v'almagoy v'almasoi, just touching it and lifting it. Aleilu, hanazir megaleach, a Nazir shaves on all these things. Umaz b'shlishi b'shvi, he's so tamei tumas meis that you have to sprinkle him with the paraduma water on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. V'soiser sakoidmim, if he's a Nazir for 70 years and all the way at the tail end of his life, he touched a dead person, he went to oil, he has to start his 70 years all over again. And he doesn't start all over again until he's done with the tahara process. Umevis, Yisroel, Taisus takes this out. Rabbi, have a wonderful day.
Here it says Maka.